Yo, loads of new stuff came out this week. Bethesda deals with a huge disaster. We finally have an idea what's in the new Dungeon Master's Guide. There's a new tabletop RPG based on a cartoon from the 80s, and there's a new Avatar: The Last Airbender project coming that I'm excited, questionable about. But Bethesda pooped their futon this week. They released Starfield's new expansion, Shattered Space, to just a sea of already pissed off fans, and I kind of feel bad for them. People expected this expansion to come in and fix the game and make it more of what people expected it to be. People expected this to No Man's Sky, Starfield. But holy hell, did it not turn out like that at all. Metacritic gave it a 57, IGN gave it a 7 out of 10, and Tamari from Steam gave it a solid meh. Thanks, Tamari. I did find that helpful. The expansion comes with new things, as expansions do, but the broad look of it, it only comes with a few new weapons, like less than 10. No new ships, no new parts, no new skills, no new companions, barely any new locations. Everyone was crossing our little fingies that Shattered Space would bring Starfield back into something fun, but it still just isn't fun. Emilio Paglarulo, the lead designer for Starfield at Bethesda, defends it, saying what we pulled off makes Starfield something of a technical marvel. It's also, in a lot of ways, the best game we've ever made. But of course he does. I'm not going to blame him for saying that, even though it's obviously wrong. If you spend that much time and money making something like a video game, you're going to like it. Or at least be really proud of the product that you made. But saying that's the best game that came out of Bethesda, I don't know, man. Skyrim was pretty cool the first year it came out. Will Bethesda focus finally on making Elder Scrolls 6? Or will they keep beating their dead horses? Well, we'll find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Also, hey, if you like hearing on the new news and stuff going on in RPG games or tabletop games, it would mean a lot to me if you subscribe to my channel. It's the best way to help me out personally. I appreciate it, every single one of you guys. Thank you so much. Okay, let's keep going. Information on the new Dungeons Master's Guide for Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition has come out, and I have complicated feelings. First of all, I don't think it's going to be bad in any sense. I don't think it's going to be a bad thing. Ton Kendrick sat down with Chris Perkins to discuss it, and then he laughed at everything Chris said for some reason.
Or a donkey book. Yes, exactly. Yes.
Now they do. Yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly. Heads.
Yeah.
But, and
everyone loves baby monsters.
baby monsters.
That's my fault. I am a terrible interviewer. Well, tell me about the...
As Chris puts it, the new book will be filled with timeless things that DMs in the future, no matter where the system takes them, they would be able to use for some kind of campaign or some kind of tabletop. There will be 5 new sample adventures, a new full Greyhawk setting with a full lore encyclopedia to go with it, magic items up the ass. Yay. I'm super stoked about that. There's also new illustrations for older items, but they're also adding a bunch more illustrations for additional items that didn't have some in the past or new ones. They're also adding all of the magic items from the kids from the 80s cartoon. Super cool. If you're bummed about the crafting section that they had in the newer player's handbook that just got released, well, apparently that section wasn't small and vague on accident. It was on purpose, because the Dungeon Master's Guide is going to have a huge section of it dedicated to just crafting items of different qualities, so they say. But above it all, there was one new addition to the Dungeon Master's Guide that they are so horny about that they had to make a second 20-minute video to go on after this one, and that would be its new Bastion mechanic. Bastions are just home bases. They're a safe place for the player to have. The players get to create it, the DM doesn't do it. As long as they pay the staff, the DM doesn't fuck with them, basically. That's all they are. Now, I'm a little confused on whether this is something that new players could just start the game having at like first level, because they talked about grounding players inside the world, making it easier for them to feel like they're a part of it by having their own wizard tower or their own super sweet studio apartment, or if this is something reserved by a group of people to call their own as a collective, because they did state that Bastions aren't available till level 5, but honestly it's probably both. But I could not get over how many times they said the word Bastion. It drove me absolutely insane. The negative person in me wanted to never build a Bastion myself, just out of spite. But with time and therapy, I will recover. There's also a new chapter they're calling sort of a DM toolbox. They have basically all the random rule questions and answers that a DM might need to know out of nowhere, like how do I deal with my players being in an area of extreme heat? Or what happens if a meteorite falls out of the sky randomly and crushes the person at your table because they keep chewing with their mouth full of Doritos? The goal of the DMG, as Chris puts it, is it needs to be something that a DM can't go without. It should be their best friend and their answer to any question that they could have. I really don't think that the 2014 DMG was anything like that for me. I mean, currently I don't have a DMG and I've been DMing 5e for close to a decade now. If there was a weird question I needed, I just Googled it. But I'll totally be getting the new DMG. I want to see the pretty pictures like everyone else does. And if it should replace Freddy as my new best friend, then good job, Chris Perkins. The creators of Shadowrun, Catalyst Lab Games, is creating a Voltron tabletop RPG game. A sentence that made the 90s kid in me almost faint in excitement. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of news about it yet, just a pre-launch page for Kickstarter. One that I'm sure is going to see immediate success. Their Kickstarter page so far says, "Unleash the power of Unity, pilot giant mechs, and defend the universe in Voltron," the role-playing game. Now, Catalyst has spoken about this past, I think about like 2 years ago, saying that if they were going to make a Voltron game, they would like to create a new dice system for it. And that's when the old man in me wants to rant, because I am pretty tired of new dice systems. My monkey brain is already stretched very thin trying to learn all these new systems. And I do it because it's fun or whatever. But why do we have to like flathead screwdriver, Phillips head screwdriver dice systems? There's so many. D20, Powered by Apocalypse, Fate, Swords Without Master, Shadowrun, Alien and the Fallout games, the Avatar RPG game. I'm a dummy and new things scare me, but yes, I'll be buying this game. I'll have a link in the description just in case you wanted to keep an eye on the Kickstarter page too. So IGN came out and let everyone know that there'll be a new AAA video game based on Avatar: The Last Airbender, making Avatar fans worldwide incredibly nervous. Avatar games in the past have, to put lightly, sucked super hard. It's being made by Paramount Games in conjunction with the Avatar studio, so the people who actually worked on the cartoon have a very pivotal position in this as well, which does make me feel a little better. But I'm also one of the only people that I know that actually really like the Netflix show, so, you know.
I think you're the bravest person I've ever met.
So far, what we've been told is that the game will be set 1,000 years in the past. It'll star a character that we haven't seen from the show at all, leading me to believe personally that this might be a create your own character type of video game, which would be hot as hell. I'm kind of hoping for, in my brain, something like the Harry Potter game Hogwarts that came out, but Avatar. Also better. But it's super early to tell anything, apparently. But Paramount is calling it the biggest game in franchise history, which means nothing. Feels really corpo talk, honestly, because the biggest game franchise is Pokemon. And the runner-up to that is Mario, both with TV and movie adaptations. So, not sure what that means. Maybe it means they spent more money on it than Nintendo spends on Pokemon, which is incredibly believable. But again, if they make it bigger than Pokemon and Mario, I'm not mad. I'm a huge fan of the Avatar games. And regardless of what it looks like, if I get to create my own custom avatar, choose what element I start first, that type of thing, I'm very much going to buy this game. That's all the new stuff I saw this week worth talking about. If you want to hear more, I really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel and give a like, friendly comment below. Whatever you have time for. I'll be starting to do full video game retrospectives, starting with a series of games I like. Hopefully I'll be able to get those out at least like bi-weekly, along with a bunch of shorts I'll be making mostly about D&D mixes, spell combos, stuff like that. But I've got a lot of stuff coming up soon. And hey, if you like spooky things, you should definitely go check out my friend's podcast called Unholy Vibes. He talks to people about supernatural experiences that they've had, and they kind of just have a campfire like chit chat about it. He asks them questions that helps them rethink the situation to maybe see a different side of it, and it's pretty fun. I'm on it a couple times. I have an episode on it. I had a blast. I love the guy. He's a really good person. Check it out. There'll be a link below if you want to see some spooky stuff. But till then, bye guys. I love you.